Well, hopefully we are live now. If you missed it last time, we basically got this far. We made the mountains, and we began to, if I'll open this, hopefully it works. Yes, we began to create a rough baseline texture for where we'll be making the final piece. Today we'll be looking at examples of mountains and textures and rock, and we'll be applying it in Photoshop to the basically overlaying. This is basically a template. You see we draw arrows, and that will be carried over to the final version, and then we'll work on trees. Hopefully we'll see how far we can get in an hour today, and then we'll carry on from there. So let's begin. We're not actually going to start in Blender. We're going to open this up in Photoshop. So I've already done that part, and I've carried it over to Photoshop a little bit. I was going to work on it outside of whatever it's called, outside of Blender, and then I decided not to, so I'll just do it. Well, I gotta carry it over to the other screen. There we go. Alright, hopefully this works. I think, yeah, alright, so as you can see, I've got it over in here. I did do a little texture testing. We've got some cool brushes that look like cracks and rocks, and we'll be working with that basically, and seeing what we can make. So let's go out. I'm going to be using like a drawing tablet for today. Hopefully that'll make it seem more natural, like a drawing, rather than just using a mouse. But we're also, let's start off by looking at things like mountains. So in order to make it as accurate as possible, I want it to look good. So let's look at some examples of mountains and rocks. So mountain, not mountain. Mountain, there we go. That should narrow it down enough. So there's a lot going on, which can be problematic when you're trying to run this on a computer. So we'll make it a little more simple than real life, but we're mostly looking at texture. Ooh, that'd be a cool project to work on. That's kind of neat. Let's go mountain texture. So this is kind of interesting. Yeah, we could probably carry that over. I think we'll start in Blender, and instead of doing this, we'll go back over. I think we can apply a displacement, which should do part of the work for us. We've already got, I think, some texture onto it. Let's see if I can zoom in. You can't really tell, but there is a bit of texture on there. We can apply, let's apply a displacement. Oh yeah, that looks good. Looks like a mountain. I think we're done. Well, thanks for watching. No, I'm just kidding. Let's go. Okay, so now you want to go over to displacement, and you can see that there is no texture. Still looks awful, but you want to add clouds. Now clouds, what basically that does is it takes this pattern right here and it applies it to the whole terrain, and we can change the size of this. So let's make it 0.4. Now it'll look bad for the meantime, but we can change that, make it a little smoother, change the subdivision, and then we can decrease the strength, and basically let's do 0.05. Yeah, that adds just a little more, maybe makes it a little more rough, make X like dirt and rocks. If we want to, we can go over and make this a little bigger, and then go back. I think we can do like 0.04, or let's go the other way. Let's go 0.06. Yeah, I like that a little better, and then we can do that again to make even smaller bumps. So we'll do the same thing. We'll go to displacement. This time it's 0.001. We'll change this to clouds, and we will make it a lot smaller. Maybe not that small. And then we'll go back here where this is at 1. We'll change it to 0.05, and then we've got definitely some a lot going on there. We can make it, let's make it 0.03, not even 0.01. Yeah, that's better. So then you got some detail there already, and it's looking pretty good. But the rest of it is going to come from artificial texturing in Photoshop. So we'll take this. This is our base. What we've got so far is the outline of where stuff goes. Basically, this line is the sorry, I'll use switch to pen. This line is the base of the mountain, and over here is the peak of that other ridge over there. So that's what that is. Here we've got basically these circles are raises in the mountain to the left, and this is angling where the top is, which is basically right there. So that's gonna help us in our. Hopefully, we're gonna attempt to make realistic rock texture. I'm gonna pull up some pictures of rock texture on my other monitor, but just know if they're, that's what I'm referencing. Never go off memory because you'll never get it right. You'll always find something a little bit off, or you'll forget something. There'll always be something. Something's just not right. So we'll look at these for now, but then I'll pull this over to my other monitor and work on the real version. 2 monitors is really nice. If you ever have the opportunity to work with 2 monitors, it is a huge difference. I started out with just one, and compromising screen space was truly annoying, and I don't like doing that at all. So I'm just gonna try and take this, make it half. Oops, I'm trying to make this take up half my thing. God, it is a little touchy with 2 monitors, I'll admit that, but it is worth it if you can figure it out, because compromising screen space isn't fun at all. All right, let's zoom out of this a little bit. I'm trying to look at maybe different styles, and yeah, I think we can work with something like this. This looks more like what I want. If you can't see it, we're gonna hopefully try and recreate something similar to that, not with as much detail, obviously, but that's just a base look at what we're gonna do. So yeah, all right, let's begin by, let's see, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what I want to start with. Let's start with maybe the rock texture. So our first layer will have multiple layers, but we'll make the all right, let's look at our different textures. So for the meantime, let's hide this, and we're just gonna look at these different rock textures we have. We have, like, this one is, oh, you can't really see that. How am I gonna make this so you can see? Well, first of all, let's make it black, and it's more of a snow texture than anything. We've got some crevices, and we've got footprints. I don't know what that'll be good for, but we could always use it. Also got tire tracks. That's not useful, but could be for another project. We've got lots of stuff preset. Scales, no. We've got, let's see, no. I'm thinking we'll start with just a base color, and then we'll work off that. So the rocks, from what I can tell from the picture, are definitely just like a gray. So we can take our color picker, and we'll just go to like a dark gray, and we'll use that as like the overlay color, and we'll make a base texture, and then we'll work on top of it. So we'll take that, make that all gray. Good. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to take something that might resemble rock. So I'm thinking like, no, let's go to, we don't want gray, we want more of a darker gray, like that. Go to our pen, and then we want to make this much bigger. No, not that big. How about, yeah, let's go with that for now. Maybe not that huge. And then we want to put that underneath this, and we want to lower the opacity of that way down. All right, so then you can just barely see it, but that'll be good for now. And then, so we'll add another layer, and this will be the rock. All right, so we'll add. Let's see, that looks good. So for the tops of the, let's actually, instead of working on that one's a little more complicated. let's work over here. So we want to add maybe that's pretty detailed. I don't know if I want to do it that much. Let's can you adjust the hardness? Okay, we're gonna want to adjust the details of this brush. So this brush, where is it? We're working with this one. We want to lower this, increase the spacing. Oh, all right, yeah. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. And then, so we'll increase the spacing, and then do this. That looks good. And then do that on the other side as well. And then maybe a little bit in the middle. And we'll go all the way down. Now this is just a trial. This by no means is going to be the final result, because this could look awful when you take it over into Blender. I have no idea. So we'll experiment with it a little bit, and then maybe next time I'll be more prepared. And then we'll take this and pull it over. All right. I think let's zoom out a little bit. I think that's kind of a good base. Let's just do the whole thing, just to be sure. All right. I think that looks good. And then we can work with other materials. Let's see, because the mountain has, I'm not really sure how to put it. The mountain is like, well, it's got like brown in it, so we're gonna want to change this to brown. I don't know, where's brown? That's kind of a brown color. Oh yeah, that's good. Make those bigger. It does look a little weird over here, but maybe once we pull it over, it'll look better. That's too much. And then that's just the base though, because we're gonna add snow at the top. So let's do that. So the snow is going to be much bigger, and it's going to be not white. We don't want white. We want it like more of a off gray. All right, and we want more spacing. So more spacing. Yeah, that looks goodish. And then as we get closer, because you know it's not the same all the way up, maybe space it a little further. Space it a little further. Now that's getting all the way to the end, so we actually want to undo that. All right, yeah. Let's go. Let's make it less extreme. Make it more. Maybe put more up here. Obviously, because it's the very top. We don't want to see anything underneath. And then add that. All right. So that's a kind of like, this is just like a, well, we're just testing out right now. I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like in the final. So we're just doing a test period at the moment. And then actually let's take this layer. Let's lower the opacity on that. Yeah. All right. I like that. And let's go ahead, and just for the sake of like seeing, you know, how it looks, let's save this. Save as. Let's do test 1. And let's save that as a JPEG, just so you guys kind of get an understanding of how it works. And then we'll pull this over to Blender. We'll we'll go into node editor and we'll add, so we'll add a texture, image texture, and we'll open up our desktop, our mountain project, and we'll open up our test. And now if we go into texture paint, you can see, oh, that's not what I wanted to see. Let's go back to object. Well, if we render, do a quick render. All right. So that's kind of right. That snow definitely needs to be a little more white. What is this? The sun? Sad excuse for a sun. Let's change that to 3. Yeah, we need more light. There's not enough light. That's the problem. All right, the sun doesn't just shine directly above. We'll create like an angle, and we'll make that, instead of white, we'll make it a little more yellow. Oh, that's way too yellow. All right, we'll make that more soft. All right. So interesting. I kind of forgot this, but you can't really see the tops of the peaks from our camera angle that we want to work with. But if I do, which is kind of my plan, is to carry this over into Unity and potentially make a game map out of it, and try and make our own game. That's a future live stream and a future project that I haven't even thought about yet. But I kind of want to do that with this if we're successful. So I think, yeah, I think it needs more white. But I think I like the mountain texture so far, and we can build off of that definitely a little more, and then. All right, so let's for the meantime, let's go back over to Photoshop. Let's make this color, because that's pretty gray. Let's make it more white, and then add that on top. I think that was just not enough color, maybe even more. Oh, that's all the way up. All right, and then we'll space it out a little more. All right. So I think that's pretty good. Now let's add up here. Remember, we don't need to be perfect, because it's not going to. The only thing that shows is the whatever is where this line stops. Other than that, it'll just cease to exist. I'll explain that a little better later. We'll cover this up, and then we'll go down, and as we get further down, we'll make this brush definitely a little smaller. Add in fine detail there. That looks good. And then at these little peaks here, we'll add some. We'll make that a little smaller. We'll add some snow. We'll add some snow. And a little bit of snow. We'll maybe space that a little more, make that a little bigger. All right, I think that looks good. Maybe some bigger chunks around there. Doesn't need to be perfect, because we're just testing for now. We'll carry it over, make it a little better later. So that's the snow, and then let's see. Let's add. Yeah, that looks good. And then what we're gonna do is, I'm kind of curious, because it doesn't seem, I'm wondering why it's all white here. Maybe we did something. What happens if we get rid of that? Oh, well, all right. That was part of the problem. I was wondering where the rest of my texture went. So that's that. And then if we go back into Photoshop and we do another test save, we get rid of that. Oh, you know what? Let's just add a base, because we don't want the the partial whatever it's called, the partial template in there, and that kind of throws off the rest of the image. We're gonna create our base brown dirt kind of looking texture that we'll work on later. So let's go into here. Let's make like a lighter brown. That's good. Then we'll go to paint bucket. We'll dump that right there. Awesome. And if we get rid of that, you can see that it looks awful. All right. Well, that's no good. Let's erase all this part of it. There we go. Oh, no, that's not good. Let's erase like everything here. Yeah, there we go. All right, and then let's create, there we go. And then let's go to here and let's add our texture. We can actually, let's see. Let's take our thing here, this thing, yeah, and let's add it to this. So we'll get rid of that for a sec, and we'll create. I don't want that. That's kind of neat though. That could be good for snow in the future. Where did my there's my crevices. All right, let's go back and do like a dark gray. Add that to the top of it. And then let's get rid of that. Why is that not working? Huh. All right. It just doesn't want to work. And then let's maybe make this a little darker. Add some darker parts to it, and then add some brown parts to it. That looks good. Oops, we don't want that. And then underneath, all right. So let's file, save as, test 2. A lot of this is just trial and error. When you get it right, it looks pretty good. But it takes a long time to just test, make test until you get something that looks good. Or over time, I guess you just kind of get an eye for it. So test 1, this is test 2. Let's look at test 2. All right, not great. Let's go out a little bit here. So you can see there's definitely some problems like this snow. We don't like that. Obviously, there wouldn't be perfectly dusted snow up on the side of the mountain. Also, it looks nothing like snow. This side's a little better, but this side's just way too thick going down. So I think we need to just cut it off like right there. So let's go back here and let's just erase. Go to our snow layer and just erase everything. All right. That's good. And then let's go back to our, what is this? Those are scales. We don't want that. Let's go to our snow. This is kind of a, well, let's go to white. And then go to the top there. So that's kind of what I was leaning towards. And then we can take the rest and make that just kind of, no, we want to space it out definitely a lot more. All right, yeah, that looks good. And then do our little bit down there. So there's that. A little bit down here. A little bit down there. Maybe just not a ton. We don't like that. Not a ton. Like down here. Yeah. All right, we'll try that and see how that goes. Actually, I want to add a little bit of this to the top here. Let me make that smaller. Make this wider, and we can add to the top. Going off the little line that we drew representing the peak. and all the way across. Make sure we don't miss anything. All right, that looks good. And then we'll file, I'll get rid of that. Temporarily file, save as test3. Save that as a JPEG. Save. Awesome. All right, now we'll go back into Blender. Open up test. Where's test3? Did I not save it? Oh, I didn't click the OK save thing yet. All right, there we go. And then hopefully we reopen this. It should have test. There it is, test3. All right, that's a little better. It's a little better. Still does not look too much like a mountain, but it is better. It's getting there. It's getting there. Too much brown, I think, over here. We need to extend the gray portion down, and then let's look at our display. Why isn't our displacement? We need to make this a little bigger. 0.0, or let's just do 0.1. What does that look like? That's okay. That's pretty good. And then we can maybe make this one 0.06. See what that looks like. Ooh, no, not at all. Undo that. Let's do 0.03. We can work with that. Actually, no, 0.02. Yeah, all right, that's good. And then let's go back here, and then let's erase this a little more. Go a little more fine on that. Work that all the way down to the base there. Let's raise the opacity for a little bit, and remember that the line is right. Oops, the line is right there, so that when we go back over and open up everything, we remember. All right, that looks good. Now let's go. Let's see what this looks like. Let's go a little bit thinner on the roof there. So let's open up our snow layer and erase some of this. Maybe make that less dense just up here. So maybe make the most dense stuff at the very top, and then carrying on down, we'll open up the open it up just a little bit. Definitely space this out again. It's way too much going on. Add in the top, and then that's looking, that'll probably be pretty good. We can always go back and change it again later. And then let's lower the opacity back way down, and then yeah, all right, looks good. We can work on the ground later, even though we won't see much of it. We're going to cover 90% of it with trees, which is going to be the next project. This is temporary. I'll probably go back and change some things later. Test4, save that as a JPEG. We'll pull this one over and see how it looks. Test4. Okay, yeah, that's looking better. I like that for now. I think we're having clipping issues with the dual displacement. 0.08. Yeah, all right. Let's look over here. going on with that? Is my GPU working? I'm having problems with my GPU right now, so maybe we're not going to be able to render. Oh, well, there we go. It's working now. That's good. Why is that? What's going on there? Is that because of the displacement? It appears to be so. All right. Well, let's just keep those there for now. Hopefully they won't be as noticeable. What's going on? Let's go back to our camera view. All right, so now we're going to go over into another layer and we're going to try and make a tree. All right, so we got our landscape here. That is going to be the least we, you know, we're not going to focus on that too much because I kind of want to recreate, if you recall, this sort of landscape idea here. Obviously, this has a lot of trees and a lot of fog, and you don't see much of the mountain. So we'll go back and we'll touch that up later. But for the meantime, I kind of want to work on these trees. So we're gonna hopefully make some, you know, higher poly ones to go in the front, and then we'll make low poly versions to cover the rest of the valley. But it's kind of like it'll help our focus. Like these will be out of focus, but we still want to make them, you know, look good. So we'll try and make some pine trees in Blender. So let's do that. So we're gonna open up a new layer, not a new project, but a new layer, and we'll save this one as is. And then let's look up the pine trees to kind of see how they are made, and then we'll work from there. So pine tree, we have lots of those around me where I live, so shouldn't be too much of a challenge. You can just, you know, download these off internet, but I kind of like making my own. It's more fun. You get to interact with the you know, you get to have more options, and then you feel better about it in the end when you make it yourself. Even if it doesn't look the best, you're like, all right, you know, I did this all myself, and I didn't need any help. So yeah, I like making things on my own. So here you can see we can get these textures off the internet. You know, we can't make everything, all right, but for the most part, we'll make the pine tree. Well, very low poly needles, like extremely low poly needles, and then we'll make that into a particle system and cover everything. You can kind of notice though they angle down, but this is more of a Christmas tree. We want evergreen. Instead of pine tree, let's just search evergreen tree. Yeah, we want something more like this. This is like your traditional kind of you'd see in the forest, like these sort of things. So we'll cover them with a bit of snow. But yeah, all right. So that's looking good. Let's work with that and see where we can get. All right, let's open up Blender again, and then go into our camera. Oh, we don't want that. All right, let's load in our base tree. We're gonna make the tree first. So we'll start with a circle. We'll fill it, and then we'll intersect. Now we got to remember that, okay, this is going to be our high poly tree, but we'll make some definitely make some lower poly ones as well. So we'll go from the front view and we'll extend that up. This is more of the making, you know, making a tree. This is where the real 3D part comes into this project. All right, let's go back to a tree, because even drawing trees is difficult. So let's just make a straight up branch to the very top. All right, yeah, let's do that. I'm really bad at drawing trees, so I don't know how well this is gonna go. I think this whole thing is too thick, so we'll make this all a little smaller. Oops. Scale that down. All right, you know what? I'm gonna pull this thing over here so that I can look at it while I work. All right, so geez, they're not super thick at the base, but they do go to a very fine point at the top. So let's scale that inwards and then extrude that up a little bit more and scale that. What did I do? All right, scale that inwards at center. Perfect. All right, so there we have kind of a tree. We don't want it to be super high poly, but we'll still make it pretty good. All right, let's create some rings there. All right, boy, you know what? I think I kind of messed up here because I merged this all at the top. Let's fill that, insert, and then merge those at the center, and take this. Maybe make that go down to a very fine point. All right, and now if we want to, we can create rings there, and if we want to make rings here, we can as well. And one more, we'll make rings down here. All right, so that is our low poly tree. We'll smooth that so it's not, or a high poly tree, excuse me, and we're gonna work from there. All right, this is where it gets interesting because I don't know what I'm doing. It looks like, all right, from looking at a tree, it appears to have branches. All right, that's helpful. I'm going to do this. This is what happens when you watch live, and I'm just trying to figure stuff out. Let's make a branch externally. All right, so let's do that. Take a cylinder. No. We're gonna make it lower poly because it's gonna be a lot of these in the game. I don't want to crash. I don't want to crash anything. Let's do 10. 10 oh, that's still a lot. Let's maybe go 8. Yeah, that'll probably be good. And then if we smooth it, it's still, you won't be able to tell because it'll be small. So we'll do that. Let's scale that down. Focus in on that. Let's add a modifier. We're not going to add a subdivision because that'll make it too high poly to duplicate later. Because this whole tree is going to eventually become a particle in a particle system, which is just going to cover the entire map. So we don't want to do that because if there's too many of it, it'll just crash Blender, and this whole project will be for nothing. So we don't want to do that. We're going to take this end. We're going to extend that out. We're going to extend this. We'll take like this section right here. We'll adjust these to maybe make them more rounded. I mean, you can't make a square round. All right, yeah, let's move that to the center. We'll drag these out. And we'll drag that down, drag that up, and then we can take this. Oh, I'm holding caps lock, that's why. We'll take these, and from this angle, we'll extend that, scale that down, extend, rotate, extend, scale. All right, that could be a branch. You never know. And let's do the same down here. So we'll take this, drag that up a little bit, let's do another cut here. So we can take that, drag it out, drag that down, drag that out, drag that down, and then we'll take all the vertices and we'll extend that out definitely want to scale that down though, because those are, we don't want to make this too big. So remember, we'll have about 200 of these in the final version, so we don't want it to be too much. Yes, it is pretty complicated. It's but it once you pick it up, it becomes more natural. So that kind of looks like a branch. Now, for the meantime, we'll take this section here. We'll extend that. We'll scale it down a little bit, extend that out, scale it down a little bit. We'll move this kind of around. Now, for branches, they are very much just, for pine trees, they just kind of stick out and angle down. So we'll do that because obviously they get thinner at the end, so they can support less weight. So we want to keep this true to what the real thing is going to look like. Always checking the reference photos, or else you'll mess something up inevitably. And then it won't look right. Something will just look off, and we don't want that. We don't want off. We want it to look as good as possible. So we'll take our little 6-section thing here, and we'll make a little bit of a oval. Select all the points and extrude. Maybe pull it off a little bit, and then extrude up. Yeah, maybe not. Scale that down. And remember, if this looks a little off, we'll end up covering it with pine needles anyways for the most part, and textures. So it'll look a little better once we do all that. I mean, not much, but a little bit. So if it's a little off-putting now, like that looks like something out of a block game, it'll change. So we'll move that, scale, maybe move it down a little bit, extrude, rotate, extrude, and scale. That's kind of like a branch. Kind of looks like a branch. I mean, better than a cylinder, so that's a start. Maybe extrude that, scale that down, meet the points in the middle. All right, let's work with that and then see where we can go. Now this, actually I have a better idea. We can add a particle system to this, and then make that hair. It'll look weird at first, but actually, now that I think about it, well, hair might be a little too far. Well, I was thinking maybe we could add, instead of pine needles, well, maybe. I don't know. We'll try it. I was going to say, instead of making pine needles, we can just make hair and make it shorter, increase the thickness, which could work. So we'll work with that idea a little bit. So instead of, hair being the thing, we can actually go to, I think it is, well, we got to go to advanced, and then we have to go to object somewhere. I know there's an object where you can choose basically what the hair is. Let's see. I know it's somewhere in here. Hair object. There it is. And we want to choose. Well, let's first of all, let's give this a name. Instead of cylinder, we'll say branch. Cool. And then we'll go back to here. Choose branch. So now our thing is covered with branches, but they're tiny, and there's way too many of them. So we'll go back up here, and we'll choose, instead of 1,000 branches, let's maybe say 100. And we'll definitely increase the size. Even 100. Well, maybe 100. Let's we're gonna random size will increase, and rotation. I'm gonna say random, and from volume, faces. All right, and then we'll want to say, instead of rotation, yeah, that's kind of good. And we'll definitely want to, instead of faces, volume, verts. No, it's still sticking through, which I don't like. Let's move this out. You know, we might just have to skip this altogether and then make it custom, but that's just going to take ages, and I'll have to do it on my own time, because that would take way longer than I have for the live stream. So we'll make some more branches. We'll focus on that. And then Let's make a smaller branch because I don't think yeah, that's kind of a circle. It's roundish. Extrude, scale down, make that go up. Yeah, there we go. Rotate that, extrude, scale. There's that. That's kind of looks like a branch. And then let's take this. Let's bring it over here because they're all different. So, you know, we got to make sure we stay true to the realism part of it. We want this one to kind of be. It is bigger, so we want it to be towards the bottom, maybe a little more, and then bring it out away from the tree. All right. Well, how many points does this have? I forget. It is, I think, 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Well, it's 10 points. So we need 10 points of contact for this tree, which I don't know how that's gonna work. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it'll work. Let's join these, and then we'll go. I'll take this one, and it'll go here. So we'll go merge last. So that's 1. 2. Oops. What have I done? Oh. I did something weird. All right, merge last. 1. Let's see, maybe this will work. 2. Oops, nope, that's not even the right one. 2, 3. I don't like that though. I don't like how that looks. All right, let's disconnect. All right, so this is no longer a parent of that. We do want to go. I want to try doing the particle system again because I think that could work if we get it right. So let's go back to hair. Let's make this advanced. Go to object. Let's choose branch. All right, and then I know there's a way to make it like a gradient, but we'll work on that. We'll work on that later. We'll make that 100, and then scale these up. Oh, we want to randomize that. We want to increase the size, definitely. And then we want to rotation. Oops. Rotation, and then, whoa, what the? All right, we don't want that. Definitely not. Whatever I just did, I don't want that. And then let's go to rotation. Let's say velocity. Let's say normal. Nope. Global. Let's say global, normal, non-tangent. They're not really. I want them to come out of the volume. Even distribution, random. Yes. Normal, tangent, normal. Nope. None. No, we don't want that. Global X. So that points them all object. Let's go object. See? That puts them all on the same set again. All right, let's just do normal tangent. All right, normal tangent. That's a good start, even though they're sticking out from the side. Well, we want to randomize it for sure. And we don't want the branches. All right, so this is kind of interesting. We will hide this for a second. Let's hide this. And then let's go Command T. We want to scale this up. And we don't want any branches down here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to paint this, texture paint it, and then when we go back, we can choose the vertice to not put any branches there. Hopefully. Now it will. It'll work. And then, so we'll go to here. We'll go to field weights, or what am I thinking? Vertex points, density, group. And now when we go back and we make this visible, it'll only go there. Perfect. All right. And then what we want to do, we want to put that somewhere we can't see it. We want to cover the branch with pine needles. So let's do that right now. We're going to make a super low poly pine needle. That's number one. Let's go to icosphere. Where did that go? All right, that's down here. So we definitely need to make that less less of a thing. All right, now that's not gonna work. That's still too many polys. Jeez. All right, well, let's see something else. Let's go to, instead of icosphere, let's do regular sphere. Let's make that 2. Oh, there we go. That's looking like a pine needle. No, I said 2, not 3. 3 is the lowest you can go. All right, you learned something new. Let's do 3 for this. 2? Nope, 3 is the lowest. All right. Well, there's our there's our pine needle. I mean, you can tell. Let's scale that everywhere but Z. Oh yeah. Now that kind of looks like a pine needle. There you go. Now scale Z. Now scale the whole thing down to nothing. Now let's change the name of that to pine needle. Something like that. I didn't spell that right at all. Who cares? Let's add a texture to it. Let's make it green, dark green. There you go. And then we will take this little guy right here, give him his own particle system, make that hair, and then we'll go to object, pine needle. All right, and we only want it to, well, let's look. All right, well, definitely need more. Let's go to 100,000. Oh, this is gonna break my game, or not my game, my computer. It's gonna break everything. We're gonna, hopefully this loads. If it just crashes Blender, I didn't save anything, and well, that'll be very sad. Luckily, Blender has recover projects. Whoa! All right, I think I put 1 million instead of 100,000. Yeah, I put 1 million, so that was a problem. We don't want 1 million. I don't even think we want 100,000. Let's do 50,000. There, that's better. Even though the size is too big. Let's make that advanced. And let's change the size to 0.2. Also, what we want to do is we want to hide this temporarily. And we want to, well, we'll keep it on there, those branches for now. I don't think that it's as dense on the whole thing, but we'll keep it as it is for now. We're gonna make these a little bigger, 0.3 maybe, random size up a little bit. Pine needles are generally the same size, so we don't want to make that too random. And then we want right now they're laying flat, which we don't like. So we're gonna make that random. We're gonna make that volume. Oh, verts. No, faces. All right. All right. How am I gonna get a good look at what's going on here? Because it doesn't look like pine needle right now. It does not look like pine needles at all. We want to go to rotation, and we want to make that. Oops. You don't want to select. There you go. Normal. What does normal look like? None. There we go. That's a little better. Kind of. let's edit it a little bit. All right. Well, we want to make on the branches themselves it not as dense. So let's size. We want to change the weight. All right, there we go. Oops. Oh, that's why. We want to make more faces so it actually registers. Otherwise, nothing will happen. What happened over here? Oh. Oops. I messed something up here. Scale X. Scale in just in general. Whatever. Alright, good enough. Now hopefully we can... Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, save. I forgot to save. Also do that. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna paint on this so that we can, you know, customize the pine needles in this specific part of the branch, because we don't want it to be as dense on this part. And that should look pretty good. Again, going with that realism part of it, we want it to look as good as possible, because this one's going to be closest to the camera. And I'll go back and make sure everything looks good, and I'll update next time. And see, you can see it copied over to all of those. That looks good. Now if we go to the particle system, choose density group, and then do make it visible again. You should see when we go to here and switch this, that the density is less on the, I mean, it might be hard to tell unless we do this. Huh. I'm not quite sure. Because that should... Oh, there it gets rid of them. Maybe, just do that and that. Let's just go a little lighter. A little lighter should be better. All right, we'll make this not visible, and then we'll work on that. And do more of that. Do that. Do that. Crazy colors, looking awesome. Now if we go and make this visible, hopefully, there we go. All right, so you can see it's less dense on the branches and more dense on the branches themselves. And then if we, you know, stop doing that, go command, see, you can see it kind of looks like a pine needle. And then we can actually, let's make these a little bigger. And then make the branch itself, we want to make a brown. So we want to make this go dark, and then, that's too dark. Lighter. Lighter? Well, there's no light on this right now, so we'll carry it over and we'll see how it looks. Now we want this particle system here to carry over other particle systems. So we want to, I wonder how, hopefully we can find, I'm going to try and find a way to make sure that the particle system on this copies over to the other, the rest of the branches on the tree. Hopefully that'll work, but that might be a project for next time. Well, let's see if we can find it right now. So we'll go here. So this is, it's set up as hair. It's set up as, it should work if, let's see. So we got the size is looking good. I think we want less branches. That's too many branches. Let's go like 80. Yeah, that's a little better. And then use modifier stack, because it's not showing up over here. Branch, global, no. Display, no. That's like location, scale, and all that. But we also want it to include its own particle system. Maybe if we copy it, no. I might have to do this a different way. I don't know if this is gonna work. I'll try and figure it out. If I can't, I'll update next time. But basically, if we want to, we'll save that, and we'll bring it over into here. See how big it is? Yeah. We'll scale that way down. If it wants to load. Oh. Nope, we don't want that scale. Ah! Alright, that's not good. What happened? Oh, that's why. Hold on. I want to make that big again. And then scale it all down. Hopefully that'll work. That should work. Yeah, that works. Alright. So we'll go overhead view of the one tree. Move that to in front of the camera. We'll keep that as it is, and then we'll look same view here and get rid of our tools, and make that our camera view so we can see what we see from here. It's still too big. Also, why is our land taller? I'm gonna bring that down just a tad. Alright, and then this along with that, we want to, well, scale it down. Hopefully that registers soon. Hopefully. Come on. You want to register? You want to work? It wants to. It really does. There it goes. Alright, we'll put that close to the camera. Move it over. I'm going to focus in on that as soon as that registers. Alright, now if we do a quick render view, it should look absolutely terrible. But that's okay for now, because we don't yet have pine needles on, we don't have texture on the tree, we don't have actual texture on the branches. That'll all be a problem and project for another live stream. But for the meantime, we will work, as you can see, these things take ages. So obviously that tree is not going to be the same, half the height of the mountain. So we're going to shrink it down, way down. Maybe not that much. But we want these mountains to seem just like in scale enormous. So let's zoom in on that. These pine needles are, oh, that's gonna be a problem. I didn't grab the pine needle with the thing. All right, well, until next time. And next time we'll be working on finishing the tree itself. I'll work on that, practice it a little bit off screen, and then I'll come back and I'll make sure it's perfect. And then we will work on finishing texturing the mountains and land, and going in and covering the landscape with trees, and then adding realistic lighting. And then we're gonna add fog, and hopefully maybe some trails and dirt. And it'll be a long project, and then hopefully, if that all comes together, I can import this whole thing into Unity and actually be able to walk through it and experience it first person. So that's the goal long term, and we'll see how we get there in the future. But thanks for watching if you did, and I will see you guys in the next live stream.